Now find 27. That kind of thing. You know, we want children to do that. It is important to recognize a possible error here. If I ask you to find, this child has been asked to find, oh, by the way, I want to point something out. When you find 12 on there, it is important that you understand that it is not the 12th bead you are finding. You are finding 12 beads. So it's going to include the 12 and all the beads that preceded the 12. So it's an ordinal skill, a cardinal skill, not an ordinal skill. And one of the ways that you can reinforce that is just by giving them a little paper clip. Clothespin. Hobby Lobby, again, the little ones. Or just a regular size anywhere. And clip it on there. And so this is 12, not the 12th. And that is important. Okay. There's another error alert that's coming up a little bit later, but I'll move on right now. So you want children to be able to do that. Here's what I want you to do now. Could you please, did you find 27? Did everybody find 27? Now, watch this. And you're going to see your 5th graders going to have trouble with this. All right, we're going to count by tens from there. We've got 27. Now, 37. Now, that's not visually clear. So some children may push over the 3 and then count off 7. Some children may count 10. Let's see what happens. This is what we had. And this is what we have. And so we have 37. Now let's count 47 and watch for any pattern you might notice. Can you do it without counting? There's a pattern. What do you notice, Gloria?
Visually from 27, I saw that there were 3 extra beads.
There's 3.
3 extra beads.
There's 3. All right, push that over. Push over 47. Can you push over 57 this time easier than the last time? Can you push over 67? What are you doing? Are you just pushing everything or leaving 3 of the next color? That's structure of number. 57 is 3 away from the next decable. 67 is 3 away from the next decable. 77 is 3 away from the next decable. This is now we could count backwards the same way. So you want children to be able to do that. Phase 1, no written number line, just this. This is your number line. An assessment game could be this. And what I'm showing you here, but when I got here I realized there's no place for me to really hang this. This is a classroom demonstration. So if I were doing that thing I did before, let me just do 12, 22, 32, 42. See how I'm doing that without even thinking because I see the pattern? It's very obvious with this, and this can be bought. It's just called the 100 inline. Yeah. So you can find that in catalogs. Same privilege there of 10. But I'm going to just think of a number. I've got a number in my head. And what I want you to do is ask me some questions and use your number line, your bead string, to figure out which number it is. Who wants to ask me a question? I can only answer it yes.
You can only answer it yes.
I can only say yes or no. I'm sorry.
Is it larger than 50?
Is it larger than 50? Yes, it is larger than 50. And this, by the way, is an assessment. I'm walking around and I'm looking. What are you doing? It is larger than 50.
Less than 60.
Is it what?
Less than 60.
Is it less than 60? No. It is not less than 60.
Greater than 80.
Is it greater than 80? She used a word that reminded me of something I use in the kitchen. Greater. Get out my grater and I do some cheese. By the way, I have a grater in my classroom, to show them whenever they use the word grater, just kind of connect. What does greater mean? Are we going to do some cheese? What does greater mean?
More than.
Bigger than, more than, great. And you use the math word. greater, right. Okay. All right. And what was your question now? I forgot what your question was. Is it greater than
80.
No! All right, now I'm looking. I'm looking. Who's got a question?
I'll just jump in here. Is it less than 70?
Is it less than 70? No! I'm watching. All right, who's got a question?
Is it less than 75?
Is it less than 75? No! It is not less than 75.
Is it an even number?
Yes! Whoa! Good question.
And at some point we ask for the number?
If you think you know it.
Is it 76?
It is not 76.
Is it 78?
Is it 78?
And now you know. Do you see how asking a question that got the answer no really helped you to know what it was? So it was a very good question. You notice here how I'm affirming the person who asked a question that somebody else in the group might have thought was not a good question. And I'm saying, see what we learned from that answer to that question? We learned something really important.
Something I was noticing just as I had my camera on the hands there is the times there was no motion, that there was no activity. And and trying to see what was going on was the decision-making process of, do I have to do something with those beads, based on what the answer was to the question.
Let me ask these people where you saw no activity. Why were you not moving the beads? Were you doing it in your mind?
I was answering the question to myself, if it's not less than, then it means this.
Okay, so she was doing, okay. So it's okay if you don't see a lot of manipulation. Some of you didn't even need the beads. You could have just kept up with that. But do you see how the beads do help? And I'm looking to see, okay, now, I'm not sure here, so I'm going to let somebody I'm not sure of, I might let her have the next turn. Now I'm going to really watch and see if she can answer the questions. Because that's not easy. You start going more than, less than, blah, blah, blah. If it's not this, then it is this. There's that if-then thinking that can be so difficult. It's a good activity. And children do enjoy that activity. It's not like Monster Mash. But it's just... Sure. I'm going to go back.
I did it this week when I had kids in line and waiting. And I do this, exactly what you did. What is the effect now if they've never used this before and we go back and use this? Is their thinking such that they can start with the grouping of 5s and 10s? So
Yes, I think most of them, not all of them.
You mentioned that
Yeah.
we have damaged them by giving them...
Oh, we absolutely have. In fact, I almost have to approach it as this is not another way to add and subtract. I'm going to show you some algebra here today, or I'm going to show you something about number theory. Give them another word, structure, number structure, so that they can kind of fall into the fact that we're actually going to be doing the same thing that they already know how to do. But you can get them to do this, and some of them absolutely need to go back to the very beginning. But
Can I do this as an isolated incident with this game without being in the classroom and not mess them up?
no, yes, you can.
I can mess them up?
No, yes, you can do this, and you will not mess them up.
So if
Yes,
I grab that, I'm
yeah.
waiting
In
for the
fact,
punchline.
it would be a wonderful assessment.
Okay.
tool.
Or just a tool,
Just a
even if my teachers aren't.
yes, yes, absolutely. No, you will not mess them up. They need to be familiar with the structure of this thing. That there's 10 reds and 10 whites and 10, and how many are there all together? And then you can go. Okay, that's a very good question. Now, the next thing is adding 2 numbers on the bead string. Now we're going to try to eliminate counting by ones. We're going to do this pretty quick. Please put over 37 as quickly as you can. The goal is 1 push. Oh, yeah. 1 push. Can you do it? In 1 push. Okay, 37. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to add 26. But we're not. We're going to try to add it by 10s and 1s. So we're going to add 20 And then we're going to add 6. Can you do it? Let's count it out together. If we have 37. If you add 10, can you push over 10? Because we've practiced this. By the way, you'll want your children to practice a little more than I've given you a chance to do, you know. All right, where do you think we're at now? 47. Can you push over another 10? Where are we at now? 57. Now, we've got to push over 6. Where are you going to put it if you push over 6? The kids can almost push over 6 and still tell you where they're at. Because they'll say, that 3 got me to 60 and 3 more get me to 63. So it's a kind of an interesting thing, but we're still using this. We're still in phase 1. Here comes phase 2. I ran through that pretty quickly, but this is in your PowerPoint so you can see it. Now we're going to do the connecting. If you have one of these, if you're lucky enough to have one of these, and by the way, you can make these by getting a rod and using your Unifix cubes instead of your beads, and put 10 reds and 10 whites and 10 reds, and they got a little hole in them. You can put them on a rod, make it in your classroom, save you a little money. You can even put it on a string, can't you? And then you can just have children hold it for you, and you've got the same thing. But now we want to make a connection between this and something you draw on the board. And that's going to be your empty number line. Now you're starting to make a connection. And you're going to place 0 and 100 on that empty number line. And then you're going to add a few numbers. And say, okay, could you please show me 37 on your bead string? And then right underneath that, you're going to show the 37 on here. Can you show me 20? And you write it down here. So this matches. Whatever the length of this is the same length of this. So you're starting to make a visual connection between those concrete objects and then lines on the board and symbols. Okay. Now remember, the goal of that bead string is to get rid of it. So this is what we're in the process of doing. We're saying adieu. You know, it takes a little longer for some than others, but we are saying goodbye to that. Somebody said to me one time, my children are so low that they can't get rid of it.